Hi, everyone. I'm Marvelous Matt Knicks, and you are watching the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast.
You're watching DaveCTV. Now, here's your host, the voice, Dave Canning. It's you, it's me, it's DaveCTV. It's you, it's me, it's DaveCTV. Let's start the show.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, it is me, it is NRD. And today, on our quarter century episode 25 of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, we have a man who has now been immortalized in Micro Brawler form, limit 1 of 150, 2 of 150, 3 of 150 in this trio. That's right. We have on our show today the marvelous Matt Knicks. Matt, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I do have one question for you. What numbers did you guys get on the back of your brawler?
128.
112.
I got 38. That's the year I turned this year, so it's kind of cool. I appreciate that, man.
Oh, sweet.
Did you get you get 1 of 1? Did you get number 1?
I have 0 of 1.
What?
Or 0 of 150.
You didn't want your own Micro Brawler?
Or
was it like a special?
It was like the prototype one.
Okay.
I guess the prototype
that's cool.
one.
I was gonna
Is
say,
it
is
entirely
this
purple?
No, but there might be an all purple one coming out in the future, maybe. That's not don't quote me on that, but it's a possibility.
Oh, come on, baby. Come on. Purple Rain all day. The Purple Rain edition. So, yeah, Matt, we're gonna start with what we start with most for our guests. What makes you a wrestling nerd?
I think the fact that I run my own wrestling company makes me the biggest wrestling nerd, because growing up, and I'm sure like most people were the same way, playing with your wrestling action figures as a kid, and you'd always book your own storylines, you do your own matches and stuff like that. Well, now I just do that in real life.
Yeah, and now you have, and if you ever choose to revert back to your childhood, you can now book yourself as the world champion to go on a reign.
I can.
So who do you think has the better brawler? So for those who aren't aware, Frank Spahek, former guest on the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, was also immortalized in brawler form, and he will be on the show next week with the man who bid a whopping $420 to get to get number 1. But so if you had to decide who has the better looking brawler between you and Frank,
honestly, I would have to say probably Frank's, because he has the mailbox with the Barracuda coming out of it. And that's, I have no props in mine, but that's pretty cool. He's got the fish coming out of the mailbox.
yes. And unfortunately, in our Micro Brawler madness, you did fall short in a 5-man battle royal we held. Was that what it was? Against Psychosis, Dragon Lee, Orange Cassidy, and I feel like I'm missing one more, but
I don't know.
That's quite a lineup.
Yes, unfortunately. So Frank's going to get a one-on-one title opportunity against Psychosis, the reigning Micro Brawler champion. And we think it's going to be a pretty one-sided affair, and I'm not saying in the side of Psychosis, but that's for but that is for another time. So tell us how the process of the Micro Brawler went. Did you know? Was it a surprise? How did that come to be?
I actually had no idea that it was happening. I don't know if anybody remembers, like months ago, there was like so they were testing a product on the website, and they posted it on my page. Yeah. And
people went crazy.
And I was so confused, because I get like email notifications every time somebody buys something off my store, which, spoilers, doesn't happen very often. But that day my phone was like going crazy, and like I was getting notifications every couple minutes, and I was like, what the hell? And then I asked them, I was like, yo, what is going on with this? And they were just like, oh, we're testing like a brawler protector thing or something on my page, and everybody thought it was a Matt Knicks brawler. And then they had to be like, oh, like, no, like, sorry guys, it was just a test thing. And then like everybody was just like, well, when is he going to get his own brawler? And everybody at work was just like, you should get your own brawler now. And I'm very like realistic in the sense that I'm like, listen, like I don't deserve a brawler. Not that I don't deserve one, but like, you know, I'm not like a very well-known wrestler. You know, I've been wrestling for like 11 years or so, but like, I'm not like a mainstream known wrestler that people would be like clamoring for a micro brawler. And I was like, well, listen, like Ryan's not going to like make a brawler of me because there's no guarantee he's going to make his money back on that. And that would just, I mean, me selfishly would be like, yeah, make it. But, you know, you got to think about like business and like logistics of that. So I was like, I don't need one of those things. Like if it happens one day, that'd be cool. But like, I wasn't like begging for it to happen. And then they just kind of like did it, I guess, on the low. And didn't tell me. Ryan kept like messing with me and being like, yeah, you're never gonna get a brawler. You're never gonna get a brawler. And then just like one day I came into work and he came over with Stank, who designs them all, and they're just like, hey, check this out. And they just hand me the thing in the box, and I was just like lost for words. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. I guess like I'm my own little guy now.
It is a great looking brawler. Obviously, you'd got to have more faith in yourself, man, because it's sold out quick. If I'm, you know, I
30 minutes.
I bought mine and went back to my lunch break. So for those unaware, when I quit my job on my last day, I asked my boss as a final request, can I take my lunch break at 12:50 here in New York, so that this way I could just peacefully buy this rather than just ignore customers like I had done in the past for this brawler. Like, hold on one second, I'll be right with you. Got it. So,
Boom.
yes, but this is great. So obviously you have your brawler, Frank has his brawler. If other than Ryan Barkin, who do you think should be the next staff member of PWTs to have a brawler made? Or would you want to see a brawler made?
Well, actually my tag team partner, Chris Castro, we tag, you know, at Freelance, Glory Pro, all over the place. We tag as the 4-star heroes. And, you know, I think it'd be cool to see him get his own brawler as well. And then, hey, maybe a double team pack, a tag team pack. I definitely would love to see a Scrump and Stank PWT cast Micro Brawler set. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. And then just like all the random people that just work there, I was like, I think it'd be hilarious to see them all get brawlers too, just because, you know, they're just normal people, you know, they're just average wrestling fans, but like for them, I'm sure it would be just as cool as it was for me to see like, hey, I got my own action figure now, and they're all super big wrestling fans to see, and for them to get it as well would be pretty cool.
Now, speaking with micro brawlers on the topic, do you collect them? Do you have a collection of any? Because we know some of the staff sold theirs off a little while ago.
That's funny is like I don't know where they are, but I know that I have like a bunch of like the original ones that first came out somewhere. But I just like was collecting them because they were just like extra ones that were kind of like around, and like I was like, yeah, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, like, and so I have them somewhere. But like, and I didn't even realize that I'm so out of the loop on so much shit sometimes that like people are like, yeah, these things are super popular, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I had no idea. And like the fact that the resale value on some of them is like insane. And I'm just like, shit, I gotta find these brawlers that I had somewhere.
Exactly. It's insane. I'm gonna look at eBay right now just because I'm curious. Your brawler is going anywhere on eBay from $55 to $125 right now.
Jeez.
So yeah, big demand for you right there. So
I'll sell mine for definitely exploded over like the last maybe year.
I'll sell mine for $5,000 if anyone wants to buy this. Cash.
Ooh.
No credit. Cash. This way it stays with me, no taxes. You know, you get all the way the workaround on that.
I'm curious, actually, Nick. The ones you bought, you said you buy them here and there. Was there any rhyme or reason to what you bought? Did you buy old school guys you like, people you've worked with, or just random?
Just it was really just like whatever ones look cool. I had I know I remember I had the Young Bucks that were like in that like yellow and blue and purple kind of gear. The Cabana one because he's my buddy. I can't remember now who else. Just random ones. I did not get those ones. I you know what, like now I'm seeing how cool it is. I think I'm gonna start getting in on this Micro Brawler game because like I never really was a collector of anything very much. Like I just like in the last year got into collecting Funko Pops, but I'm sticking to exclusively the Dragon Ball Z ones, which is still like a ton of them. And I'm like, I'm glad I don't have space for anything because like otherwise I'd just be buying everything.
You could see everything. Yeah, I got stuff everywhere. This camera hides all the COVID stuff I bought. Yeah.
Yes, he has interchangeable backgrounds. Like last week with Man Scout, he had just a shrine there. It was, you know, one day he'll have a shrine of all my stuff, you know, but hopefully. So obviously we mentioned that you do work at Pro Wrestling Tees. Can you take us through an average day of what you do? Because the behind the merchandise documentary does not do you justice whatsoever. We just know that Ryan just dumps on you throughout the documentary, and which is how I actually heard of you. So that him busting on you opened me up to you. So and we saw you put a screen press on a sleeve press there. So so take us through a day in Pro Wrestling Tees for you.
Well, I guess like an average day for me, like, you know, I've been working at Pro Wrestling Tees. Like, I would say I started there just within a year of it starting, like the website opening up. So I've been there for like 6 or 7 years at this point. And I've literally done pretty much every job there. Like I kind of just bounced around everything. Like I was, you know, doing the heat transfers for a while. I was a printer on the actual like GTX machines that we have. And just recently I moved back over to doing the heat transfers and stuff just because like they needed somebody who knew how to do it already. So I was like, yeah, I got you. And it's super easy. A lot of the stuff that I do is, well, specifically a lot of AEW logo stuff, any kind of hoodies I do. So if you've ever bought a hoodie from us, I've touched your hoodie, which is kind of a weird thing to say.
There's a t-shirt idea. I've touched your hoodie.
I've touched your hoodie. We would joke around, like every time we would go like to WrestleMania weekends and like we'd see people wearing like Bullet Club shirts or anything like that was a heat transfer. I'd be like, hey, I made that. I made that. And then people just look at you like you're like crazy.
Sir, get away from me. Stop touching my shirt.
But no, yeah, I do a lot of that. It's kind of slowed down a little bit now, just like in the lulls between sales and stuff. So it's not too busy, and I kind of help out with the shipping as well when there is a need for that. But yeah, I mean, like an average day, pretty much I come in usually about 8 o'clock. You know, open up my boxes, label stuff, make some shirts, and I'm usually out of there by like 6 o'clock every day, which is pretty nice. Before it was like, God, we were there till like 10, 11 o'clock at night, every single night, just grinding. And now we've kind of got the shop and all of the whole system down to like a science. So there's not really a super need for like being there late every time, but like, you know, during Black Friday and stuff, it's a different story.
Now, I don't know if you would be the man to go to for this question. Maybe your tag team partner, Chris Castro, might know it based on what I learned from the behind the merch doc. But though obviously, like we know that Pro Wrestling Tees doesn't want to have backstock of merchandise. Everything is print on demand. But obviously with the retail store, there is some merchandise there sitting there. So like, how do you know how you guys determine what you keep in stock in the retail store?
We pretty much like, at least the way we've been doing it lately is we figure out what designs we want to put out in the store, and we'll print. They'll order the shirts for those specific designs. Printers will print them, and then we put them out in the stores. And then every so often, once the stock gets a little bit low out in the store, then they just order more shirts. We reprint more, and then we just put them back out there. So there's really not a lot of stuff sitting around, which is pretty good. Now we do have like an extra warehouse where we keep a stock of like blank shirts and hoodies and stuff like that, just in the event that like something like when AEW is like, hey, we need 300 shirts of this design like by Wednesday, and we gotta like, at least we have them. We know we have them.
Interesting. Yeah, that just, as I saw like the grand reopening this past week, I'm like, wait, they said they don't keep back stock, but there's stock there. So what are we doing? So, and then also we touched on the freelance wrestling that you run. How did that all start, and what exactly is your role basically with all that?
Well, like I said, I've been wrestling for a while, and when I was like probably like 4 years in of wrestling, I was kind of like already starting to get burnt out on it. Like there's a lot of like bullshit politics, and it just sucks the fun out of it sometimes. And I joked around with some friends where I was like, I think I'm just gonna like do my own show. I'm just gonna do my own show. Like you hear that all the time from other wrestlers and stuff like that, and you see people will pop up and you'll see them run a show, like maybe 1 or 2 tops, and then they realize that it's more of a headache than it's worth, and they don't run any more shows. But we did it at this little Irish pub called the Abbey Pub in Chicago that I guess famously might be known for being on the first season of Bar Rescue. And we did it as like a late night like rock show, punk rock wrestling show, where we would have bands play and like matches in between and stuff like that. And I kind of went out on my own and just like flyered every single bar neighborhood and just like hung up flyers everywhere and just was like, all right, we'll see how this goes. And we had a pretty decent turnout for our first show. Like there was at least 100 people there. And we in the first like 2 years, I think we were running bi-monthly, and it just, you see it every show, the crowd would grow a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Ooh, excuse me. And eventually I was just like, well, shit, I guess I kind of have to keep doing this now, huh? And we just like kind of create, and it's weird because our crowd, even to this day, is like a very split crowd, whereas like it's like probably a handful of the crowd is like wrestling fans, and the rest of the people that come in are just like yuppies that come in to to drink and watch some dudes beat each other up. And like a lot of these people now, like it's so funny, like they're not really wrestling fans, but they're fans of freelance specifically. And it's just like a wild atmosphere. And like you go to shows, I've wrestled all over the world, and it's you get different experiences from different crowds depending on where you go. And a lot of times you kind of just like, you're like, oh, they don't, you could tell when people just don't care, or at least not specifically don't care, but like they're not really invested in what's going on. Like we've seen it all, we've seen this, we've seen that, so like it's hard to kind of get their attention. But like it's weird that like on our shows, like every single match, like people are like losing their minds over like shoulder tackles and body slams and stuff like that. So it's like, it's really fun because the crowd's super into it. And so the wrestlers are like way more invested in what they're doing, because they're like, oh, these people are really, really receptive of what we're doing. We're going to like you, and you could see that they're having fun. So then the wrestlers are having fun. So then the fans see they're having fun, and everyone's just having a good time. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see a wrestling show in a bar, because it just combines two of my favorite things, drinking and wrestling. So, and you just put it in that atmosphere. Beers are probably a lot less cheaper than they would be at like out at the United Center, or
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
People doing shots and whatnot just mid match. But have you ever?
Nuts.
Have you ever had like to do like obviously a bar is where you're gonna find the rowdiest and worst of the worst kind of people. But like, have you ever like had any issues with like a fan that's just like had one too many? Is like, oh, I want to be a part of the show and like try to get in the ring or anything like that?
Thankfully, no. But we've had people that like would just like yell shit during the show that like sometimes would be like, oh, hey, easy. I've had to tell people a couple times like, hey, like, hey, I know you're having fun, but hey, we don't like that kind of language here. Like, I don't care about people cussing and stuff, but I always tell people like, listen, like, no racist remarks, no, sexist or like, uh, homophobic stuff like that. Like, we don't like that. That's not fun. Like, you're taking the fun out of it. You're making it like weird now. And people usually are really like quick to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't think. And I'm like, it's fine. Just, pay attention to what you're saying.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just beat you down. We're
Yeah.
what we're doing may not be legit, but what we can do to you is so.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, you got to wrestle Cody at AEW. So tell us, how did that go about? Who called who? What was that like? Just getting to obviously wrestle one of the biggest names in wrestling today, on such a platform.
Yeah. So it's so funny because like everyone's like, when people bring that up to me, like, and I don't mean this in like a dismissive way, but like a lot of times I legit like forget that happened. Mainly because I have a really bad memory, but no, so that was the Wednesday, I think it was the day before Thanksgiving, 2 years ago. And so I was there as like an extra talent. A lot of times, like, WWE, AEW, they'll ask people to come in, like local wrestlers, to kind of just be there in case they need like, fake security guards or like EMTs or whatever, or the occasional squash match. And so we were there. I didn't know what we were going to be doing that day, and then they kind of just came to us and they were like, "Hey, we want you to wrestle Cody," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm down." And he's like, "No, seriously, like we need you to do this thing," and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, absolutely." And like Cody knows me, as far as like he's seen me at like the shop and stuff. Like, he knows that I'm one of Ryan's guys. And he was just like, hey, like super excited, and was kind of just like, we're gonna do this, like, is that cool? And I'm like, yeah, it's your show, man. Like, what the hell? Like, so like I was like I was not nervous at all either, just because like it was very simple and like an easy layout for the match. And I go out there during the commercial break. I kind of slink down on the side of the entrance ramp, and like all of my coworkers and my boss and everybody, Ryan and Frank and all of them, they were all sitting front row. And the only people that knew were Frank, Ryan, and I think Stank, because they were there earlier in the day. And so everybody else just sees me walking out there, and they're just like losing their minds. And then so I'm like hanging out ringside, and I'm just like, whatever, like bebopping and just getting ready for the match. And then Cody's entrance starts, and then his pyro goes off and his big flames. And I was just like, oh shit. Because like you could feel that fire all the way down by the ring. And I was just like, that's when the nerves kind of set in. And I was like, oh, okay. And I also like didn't know when I was supposed to get in the ring. So I was kind of like just standing there like, this is live television. What am I supposed to do? And then so I get in the ring, and they like announce, like they announce me, and I kind of like do a weird taunt, because I don't really have a taunt. So I was kind of just like, yeah. And there was a huge pop for it, and I was like, oh shit. And so we kind of circle around a little bit before the beginning of the match, and you can definitely hear this when you go back. And the crowd like legit started chanting freelance wrestling, and we both like stop. Like Cody stops, and he like looks around, and he like looks at me, and he gives me a smirk, and I was just like, oh shit, like uh-oh. And then the match was quick. We did the deed and got out of there. And I went to the back and talked to him afterwards, and he's just like, hey, he's like, man, freelance pretty popular here in Chicago, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Like that was to me, like that was the coolest thing that could ever happen to me. Like the match itself was awesome. Like doing that was cool, but like to like have maybe not the entire arena, but like at least a decent amount of people in that arena chanting for like a little wrestling company that I like made up was pretty sweet. And I was like, this will be one of those things in my career that I look back on and I'm like, that's, well, if I can remember it, that it was like a really cool thing. And I didn't even think about this too until recently. One of my buddies was telling me, he was like, oh, he's like, I was watching back old episodes of Dynamite and I saw the thing with you and Cody again. And he's like, do you ever think about how awesome it is that JR was like calling one of your matches? And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like that's like another layer to the whole thing that I'm like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, and not spoiler, but like Easter egg, I guess, the gear that the Micro Brawler is wearing is the same gear that I wore in that match.
Oh wow, interesting.
Trying to see where I just had the photo up too. Darn.
So I have a question, Matt. If let's say you couldn't, if they wanted to change your name for that match, what might you have gone by?
Oh, I actually have a list. Hold on, where's my phone? I have a list on my phone of just goofy wrestling names that I'm like, oh, if I call them my NXT names because I like every time like somebody gets signed to NXT, they have to change their name and it's always like a weird thing. So I've got a couple here. You guys get to pick which one you think is the best. All right. Waldo Geraldo.
From Family Matters?
I have a voting thing. You're opening the door. I have these things to kind of vote for things. So this is me saying it's a home run. That's a good name.
Oh yeah, that is an incredible photo.
Yes.
Rex Goliath.
That's pretty strong.
The wine? I love the origins of all these.
No good.
Reese Mahogany. Kirby Boba. Bobby Buford.
So.
And Crow Daddy Bayou.
Winner.
Yeah.
Down by the bayou.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like the Cajun gimmick.
Like I like the first
one. Well, I mean,
one.
that's exactly what NXT would do. They bill him from Louisiana, even though he's from Chicago, and make him speak with an accent, and make you wear what's the high
overalls?
Water? Yes, the high water overalls. So you can go fly fishing.
And then when they called you up to the main roster, they'd shorten it to one word.
Just Bayou. Here
Bayou,
comes
yeah.
Bayou.
From
Or
the
Crow
bayou.
Daddy.
From the bayou.
This is
Bayou.
So one more thing, speaking of names and gimmicks, I was doing some research. Obviously, I learned about you through the VIP group. So when I saw you in Dynamite, knew who you were, excited about that. But I saw, according to a website, cagematch.net, they said you once went by Garth Algar. That struck me as funny. And then I looked up how or where. Is there any good stories about that?
So that was God, I think 2000 and I want to say 2011 or 12 maybe. And it was like one of the first shows that Chikara was running in Chicago. And myself and my tag partner Chris Castro, we went to kind of just like show face and like shake hands and meet everybody and just try to get an in. That's what wrestlers do. It's networking. Never any promises. You kind of just show up and sometimes they're like, hey, we actually need you for this, and they actually did. Yeah, exactly. We so we were there, and there was I can't remember the name of the tag team now. The Devastation Corporation is what they were called. Two giant dudes, almost like Demolition, and they were managed by Sydney Bacavella, who is a good friend of mine, Joe Eastman. And so it was literally just like, they're gonna destroy you guys because they're two giant monsters and like we're just like little guys, and they just, I don't know why, but they were like, we're not gonna have you be yourselves. So they basically named us after the Wayne's World characters,
Yeah.
And actually at the time too, I used to come to the ring with big fake glasses, like almost like these are actually real now, but at that time I didn't need them, but I had the glasses and I came to the ring with those and we got like demolished. And I specifically remember that match, and I'm surprised I do, because I just remember they were like, we're gonna do this thing where the guy was telling me, he's like, I'm gonna like military press you and I'm gonna throw you to my partner, he's gonna catch you and then like give you a fall away slam. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I was like, I'm a little heavier than I look, like just so you know. And he's just like, I got you. So dude lifts me up, he's got me up over his head and he tosses me across the ring to the other guy. He catches me on his chest and I hit him and he just falls immediately, and I fly out of his hands and I like fling out of the ring and my head smacks off the side of the ring on the apron, and I'm just like hanging on the outside of the ring and I'm just like dazed, and I fall out of the ring. And I just remember like Joey coming up to me, Joey Eastman, and he's like, dude, holy shit, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And he goes, okay. He just picks me up and throws me back in the ring for the rest of the match. I was like, God damn it.
Oof. That sounds brutal. Like,
Yeah, I want to see pictures of that. Garth Algar, somehow that escaped my mind. I'm like, I know that name. And then it came to me. I was like, I need to see pictures. Right? Yeah. Nice.
it's good because we have 4 endings planned for this show. We've got a Scooby-Doo one, a Law and Order one, a wrestling one.
Dun, dun.
Yeah. So is freelance back up and running now? Like, obviously I know everything with COVID wrecked everybody, but like,
Ooh.
are you guys gonna have shows going anytime soon, or have you?
Yeah, we did a couple. We did 2 during the pandemic. We did one as a part of the collective in Indianapolis, which is a hard sentence to say, in October with the GCW collective thing. And we had the great time slot of being on at midnight just after Joey Janela's spring break, which was a lot of fun. Then we did a studio style taping show a couple months ago, just in the outside of the city. And now we've got dates ready to go for September, October, November, and December. And we're actually doing another show Labor Day weekend in Hoffman Estates, the same weekend with all the All Out stuff. GCW is doing another kind of collective show there. It's called the Chicago Summit. We're doing a show 7:00 on Friday, which I just found out today is running head to head against AEW's Rampage show. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, the one on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. So and this is fine. Like, I mean, there's going to be a lot of options for wrestling that weekend for everybody. So, maybe people that don't want to go there can come check out our show. There's a bunch of stuff going on, a lot of fun shows there, especially if you're going to be out in that area. So, but yeah, then we have the rest of our shows coming up this year, and I'm very excited. They're all going to be streaming on IWTV. So if you're a subscriber there, you can check them out live. But yeah.
Awesome. So we will go to our top 3 Tuesday, unless anybody else has Ryan, you look deep in thought there.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I always ask questions afterwards. It's
okay. Late night questions with Ryan Crossley, ladies and gentlemen. Patreon exclusive.
Oh.
But yes, we will go to our top 3 Tuesday. And as always, we let our guests select the top 3. And you have chosen Aliens. So we will give you the choice, Matt. Do you want to go first or do you want to go last?
Let me go last.
Okay. Nick, you're up first.
I always like to go first.
I always got them written down.
Yeah.
So it's any alien, right? Just from anything, correct?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna pick everybody's favorite '80s alien, Alf. Gotta go. Oh, that's why I like going first. Movie I just watched recently, and it's kind of underrated. Beldar Conehead.
Oh, sick.
Ryan. Wow, I didn't even think that Ryan actually
And,
was a conehead. He just got surgery.
Well, you got Conehead too?
Yes.
And then what about Marvin the Martian from the Looney Tunes?
What a
Oh,
joke.
nice.
Nice.
Can't wait for Space Jam 2. Ryan, who do you have?
Okay, I had a big list because Nick stole one. I have Mork from Mork and Mindy. It'd be Robin Williams and Mork. Yeah,
Very good.
You know, you could do a Chase version with his silver suit with the red triangle, and then him in those stripes and those rainbow suspenders. Awesome. I vaguely remember that. I'm not quite that old, Dave, but I remember it. Gosh, next I would go with. I'm going to go with E.T. from E.T.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about ET.
I didn't think about Alf. This should be a part of the game, stealing from each other. I love it. I
Oh.
love the reaction there. Okay, and next one, I also went for toyeticness because I had some other aliens I like more, but I think this counts. Lilu Dallas, Fifth Element. She was an alien. I
Yeah.
love that movie. Nick, maybe you can get me a word in on PWT's cast. I want to do the movie reviews with them. So hopefully I can be on there for Fifth Element.
Yeah, I'll put in a word.
Yeah. I bug him enough. It's okay. Don't bug him anymore now. I bug him enough.
Well, now I have to improvise because my list is just completely shot.
Your back is broken.
So you know what? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna group one together. Speaking of Marvin and Space Jam, I'm gonna go with the whole Monstars starting five because
Oh,
that was an untouchable team. Michael Jordan, I think he traveled in that last, possession. I don't think that basket should have counted. That's just me. Number two, I'm going to go with the alien that crawls out of the guy's chest in Spaceballs when they're at the diner. And he's like, did you get the soup or the special? And just boom. He's like, I
hello,
ordered
my
the
baby.
special.
Hello, my honey.
Exactly. I'm glad somebody got that because I just thought I was like, oh, that worked. And then number three, this might be a stretch, and let's see if it's allowed so we obviously have our beautiful Micro Brawler here, and I'm about to make a lot of people mad because I'm gonna open it right here on national internet television. I know it's terrible.
Oh my God.
I just made so many people mad. It's no longer worth the eBay listing. But my third alien pick is going to be the knee pad.
Oh,
The alien on the Matt Knicks Brawler knee pad and the wristband.
so
We miss Prince, by the way. I love Prince.
I didn't never even notice that.
So
Dank
fun
details.
fun fact about the alien on my gear. So you can't really tell it from that one because that's just like an alien head. But
Yeah.
the actual alien face that's on my gear that I have is based off of this. It's a weird like clothing line that like they post like on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff. But their mascot is this little like alien doll, and his name's Lil Mayo. And they post all these weird videos of him like dressed up in like gangster clothes, and he's just like drinking with a bunch of strippers and like doing like his little weird hand things on their butts and stuff. And I'm like, yo, he's the best. And I was like, I want him in my wrestling gear forever. So check him out. Lil Mayo is his name.
Is that him?
But yep, that's him.
Googled Lil Mayo. Okay.
I fall down those rabbit holes really hard. So
we've heard. But yes, it is your turn, sir, for your top 3 Tuesday and aliens.
So okay, my 3. I'm gonna start with based off of one of my favorite movies. I'll do the Martians from Mars Attacks as a brawler, because then you can mix and match those guys with different chase variants of them being like in their little speedos that they wear. I just got a tattoo not too long ago on my leg. It's one of the Mars Attacks Martians dressed up like Macho Man.
Nice.
Nice little mashup there.
Everything Macho Man always gets my vote.
Number 2, I guess I'm gonna do Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, because I love that movie. I love Disney movies, but he's the best. And the last one I'll do is I'll do the Predator from the Predator franchise. Because then you could do like the chase variants of him being like maybe like a metallic silver one of him being like invisible.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Or a battle damaged one.
Would
I like
if you take the helmet off, would it be Rob Van Dam?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard those birds that sound like the Predator? Here in California, I used to in my apartment. There's a bird that sounds like that. I can't even replicate it, but
Give it your best try. Come on.
let me bring up the audio.
No. You've got to natural. I've given my Howard Finkel impersonation on this show. You have to give us your sound bites. Come on.
I don't. It's like I don't know. I'm gonna ruin it. I don't even.
I'm a grown man wearing a crown right now. Okay, there's nothing you can do to top this.
I forget. I'm gonna claim like Matt. I don't remember what it sounded like. I honestly don't.
It's hard to replicate those clicking sounds.
And that's why he's never gonna wear this crown. Never.
I'm gonna steal it. I'm a heel, man.
I threw Harold off the cell. You think you can top me? Come on, man. That's right. I threw a puppet off a heck in a cell. Imagine what I would do to him.
How dare you?
I know, it was dangerous. He's okay, though. He made it to Pro Wrestling D's store for the grand reopening, got his own Micro Brawler, so. That's right. We worked around the rules by getting a puppet in there, so. But, so, Matt, that's going to do it for our show. So, whatever you want to plug away, the floor is yours, sir.
Oh, God. This is always like, I'm always the worst at plugging shit.
Pro Wrestling Tees./Matt Knicks.
Yeah. I do have a Pro Wrestling Tees store. I've got a lot of purple shirts on there. It's pretty sweet. I have a shirt with my dog on, which let me pull her over here.
Oh.
They got it's a nice photo of her looking very angry.
Oh yeah.
I put it on there just because I thought it'd be funny. Only a handful of people have bought it, but hey. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Matt Knicks, TheMattNicks. I do have my own podcast. It's called My Violet Tendencies. If you like a lot of incoherent conversations about God knows what, that's kind of what it consists of. I am going to be starting 2 side podcasts coming up soon. This is, I guess, breaking news. One of them is going to be very specifically geared towards UFO talk because it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I can talk about that for hours, and we're going to put that to the test. And then another one, myself and my girlfriend are going to be doing a podcast together where we talk about cryptids and we get drunk. So that's going to be also very fun.
Nice. That's a good way to build the relationship. So.
Yeah, and then freelancewrestling.com. You can link to the freelance merch store. All of our social media is on there. That's a little bit easier. And I guess that might be it.
And come visit him at the ProWrestlingTees.com store, everyone. Just go right in that door that says only staff in Colt Cabana. Just go right through there on the left, I'm assuming. But
always is left.
So, yes, that is going to do it for this episode of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. Don't forget, you can find us on social media, Facebook.com/WNRDB, Twitter @WNRDB, and, of course, ProWrestlingTees.com/the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, and that is nerd spelled NRD. When we eventually get hoodies, Matt Knicks will put that perfect purple touch right on it for you. And if you see him in person, he will touch your hoodie while you're wearing it. So that's our guarantee, everyone. And don't forget, you can also support us on patreon.com/WNRDB. We've got a lot of great rewards. We revamped it. You get into our private chat on Facebook. If you join the Dave Cave level, you could win an 8x10. All sorts of great stuff on our Patreon and ProWrestlingTees.com store. This is up after the sale. Damn. Oh, well. So if you bought a shirt during the sale, I appreciate you. I wish you a happy 4th of July, a happy Canada Day, and happy birthday to my sister Margaret. I don't know if this will be up before her birthday. So, yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, there we go. So, exactly. July 12th, everyone, write it on Facebook. See. So, yes, that's going to do it for this episode of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. On behalf of myself, the King, DaveCTheVoice, the Founding Father, Mr. Nick Carpenter, the Micro Brawler Scholar, Ryan Crossley, and, of course, the man forever known as a Micro Brawler, the marvelous, wow, I can't talk tonight, marvelous Matt Knicks. Thank you for joining us on the show. And until next time, on behalf of all of us, don't forget to tell your mother you love her every day because like Kevin Durant said, Mom, you're the real MVP. Good night, everyone, and God bless America and Canada.